Hello, guys. Today we're going to be looking at enhancement of educational information through anonymous feedback. Presenting this is Project Team 13. So we're going to start by looking at the introduction and background. With the introduction, there has often been communication barriers between staff and students due to the fact that students fear to give honest opinions to staff due to fear of discrimination and hateful grading. So, in with this point, you would find that a student might be facing challenges when it comes to their academic performances, but they fail to approach lecturers or tutors for assistance because they fear they might be discriminated in the sense that the tutor or the lecturer might see that student as being dull. Hence, they fail to approach the lecturer. Hence, anonymous feedback was introduced in schools and other institutions to aid honesty without being discriminated. Then we're going to look at the problem of study. Um, so, with the problem of study is the discrepancy in teacher and student communication. What this point means is that there is a lack of compatibility between lecturers and students. There is a gap in the way they communicate. The communicating skills are not that compatible between the two parties because students feel maybe lecturers are more powerful or more superior than the students, and then lecturers feel students can't tell lecturers anything or control them in how they conduct their lessons.
Okay, thank you, Mwamba. And I'll continue where you ended from, which is project description. Project description basically it talks about the contents which is in the project, which is our goals and our aim and the problem we'll face in solving this. The first point is this project will add enabling students to send feedbacks to lectures with their identity withheld. In this point, it will help students be more freely to express their opinions without them risking their identity. So in our project and or our app, we see students expressing themselves. And the second point is there will be more information gap breaching through creation of an app. So an example I would give is Moodle. Moodle, you send an email, the lecturer will see you or when he sends to you. But in our app, to be anonymous, where the lecturer won't see you or the tutor. So the gap will be breached there, and we'll get to have more opinions. And the second one is on project significance. This project will implement optimical feedback amongst staff and students. Students will send feedback with their personal withheld. Staff will be able to check feedback. This will improve staff performance and student opinion boost. Like I said earlier, on this point, we'll be free as students to express our views without without anything or without risking saying you'll be expelled or the lecturer will hate you. And this is where I end. Charles.
Okay, so I'm kicking in on the proposed solution section of this project. So this application for its full development, which will look at the implementation of certain layers and structures. So firstly, we look at the application layers, then go further to the security engine and the end user interface. So and then this application in its development, it will follow those ethical issues such as privacy, cybercrimes, honesty and accountability, and accuracy above all. So then we look at the first, which is the application layers. So the application layers, we find that these fall in the implementation of almost all applications that run on mobile phones. So these layers are categorized in the presentation layer, business layer, also the data access layer. So the presentation layer looks at part where the user features and the end user interface are kind of structured, whereby this is presented to the customer out there or the user. So now the other part is the business layer. So the business layer looks at the caching, login, account, and all that, and then it also looks at the security and privacy and their management. So then bridging in the data access layer, for which has data utility. The repository manager comes in to blend in so that data flow and check is applied appropriately. So now we move to the next slide, which is the yeah. So look at the end user interface. So now the end user interface, this is the part that you present to the users out there, the customers. So we find that there'll be message data management, which will be under security systems. This is where the student messages and all those kind of feedback will be managed. So this is where security must be tight. And also look at the user interface of the security systems settings, the video write. So look at the profile management, contact management, and the send features of those structures. So then you also look at as in this project, in its development, it will prioritize privacy and security. So also look at since this requires most of privacy and other security systems, we applied the attribute-based credential security system, which is simply the ABC system or the framework. So this one will enable us to have the data applied appropriately, and it's mostly managed by the students and their authority and their abilities to change to manage everything, whereby you have the cryptographic engine, of the issuance manager, key manager, and the revocation proxy, those credential and pseudonym logs. Then so the outcomes of this project, we look at like the outcomes, we find that there'll be student and staff gap bridge. So like there'll be efficient communication in the two parties. Also have more efficient communication between staff and students. Teaching methods enhancements will be as well be uh, possible. So now the conclusion of this project, uh, simply saying it's going to work for the best. Oh, next slide, please. Um, so in the conclusion of this project, so like we find that this work there'll be this project, it will work with all necessary strategies applied, right? And anonymous feedback is prominent in safeguarding privacy. Therefore, user rights come first. This project will chip in for the communication part that is impossible to disseminate with the sender being recognized. So this is quite a good project, and this has been Team 13, and thank you very much.